There are some provisions in EU law for workers to be able to cross frontiers more quickly than others, but those are very discrete provisions, and we do not at first blush believe that the Spanish provisions actually comply with those requirements. But I'll tell you more, and as every Gibraltarian will know, the idea of special passes to cross the frontier is the sort of thing that might have prompted Mr. Moratinos, not me, Mr. Moratinos, an ex-Spanish foreign minister, to describe some of the policies being pursued by Mr. Margallo and his ministry as akin to those being pursued by the Franco regime. You'll recall that in the 1960s, one of the things that Franco introduced was a special pass for workers to cross the frontier when others might not be allowed to do so. This makes absolutely no sense in the modern age. What we need to have is a non-discriminatory system to allow people to flow across that frontier as they need and wish to do so, not just for work, but for touristic purposes, to see family, to shop, whatever it is that they want to do. Of course, it makes absolutely no sense to make it easier for Spanish workers to get into Gibraltar if many of them are going to be working in the retail, distributive and hospitality trades, waiting for tourists who can't come into Gibraltar to avail themselves of their services because they're stuck in a queue. The policies being pursued by the central government in Madrid need to be shaken up and revert to policies which are modern and which are designed to ensure that European law applies to everyone who wants to cross that frontier without discrimination in favor of one or other.
Is it really about speeding things up at the frontier, or do you think it's more about obtaining tax information about the people crossing it?
Look, I mean, if Spain wants to obtain tax information about people who work in Gibraltar, all she needs to do is ask the government of Gibraltar. We share a lot of this information already because at the level of social security, there is exchange of information between all the member states so that people who might have accidents in one place can have healthcare in their home place of residence or in the place where they have the accident, etc. I don't think it's necessarily so much about that, unless, of course, there are people who are working here, who are not registering in Spain as being workers in Gibraltar, and who are perhaps in Spain receiving unemployment benefits, etc. Look, the government of Gibraltar is not going to condone anybody committing a fiscal fraud in Spain. And if people want to register themselves to work, or people rather want to work in Gibraltar, they must register themselves to work in Gibraltar. We don't believe there should be people here who are not registered to work because of the fear that we might share information with Spain and that might show up that they're actually committing social insurance or social benefit fraud. But it seems to me that the Spanish measure is not about that at all. It seems to me this is just Spain wanting to pretend to make the flow of people across the frontier easier in some way. We found out today from our newspapers that even the European Commission was not aware that Spain was going to take this measure. This is not a serious measure designed to assist frontier flow. This is just another part of playing the game of pretending to want to ease frontier flow whilst not doing so. Now we're going to see the start of works. And ironically, the works are going to start in summer. They're going to go through this summer and the next, and they're going to end when the Partido Popular ends its mandate at the end of next year. I think the policy the Partido Popular is pursuing is so transparent, they should be ashamed of not being able to be a little bit more Machiavellian.